All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for showing up on day 3 of this oddly early week streaming session where I am going through guest photos, trying to rename them up and get them uploaded to Google Photos before they start quotaing things. That's mainly the reason I'm cramming 3 nights here in the middle of the week. But anyway, before we begin, I have a request from Jessica. Apparently, one of her friends, an old hand on the PRR and later Conrail, just passed away. So I just want to have a quick moment of silence. His name was Jerry, and all right. Well, thank you. Just remember that there are a lot of the last generation of classic railroaders are starting to get up there in age. A couple years ago, they were hitting the retirement era. Now they're unfortunately passing away. So if you know any, make sure you get their stories. Make sure that any stories or photos or artifacts and stuff is also lined up. So. I'm hoping to do that here. Like I said, my friend's not that old, but I'm trying to get this stuff documented as best I can. Always got to think about the future. Anyway, today it's going to be a little bit of like I said, it's going to be a little bit of a mishmash. I've got a few Ivy Ridge Kenwood Line stuff that I would like to rename here for you guys. Go through it. Good opportunity to talk about the history of the Kenwood branch. Next, I'm going to clean up a little bit on the THORN Tower. I forgot I had some photos in there of the defect detectors. And if time permits, I have one last bit of things on the Aurora line, which are some film photos. Not very many there if you were here. So we might finish up with either that or THORN. I'll figure it out. Anyway, I'll get this going here. It's going to be the same sort of thing as the last 3 nights. All these photos are of reduced enough resolution that I'm not going to get much out of it. I mean, I could go and edit them and do whatever, but at these resolutions, this is even smaller. As you can see, it's already 1200 by 800. So if I try to do anything, it's just going to be losing information. First off, we have a brief thing here, just a couple of things at Stafford on the main line. Notice that the center 2 tracks have already been converted to welded rail. Prior to this time, a lot of the main line was actually still using original PRR jointed rail, 152 pound. You can see the joints here on track 4 and then on track 1. It was actually a pretty fun experience taking the old main line out there as they sort of rattled around. Here we have a Keystone train. Also, with the electric power off west of THORN, Keystone trains were all diesel. They were all diesel pretty much up, again, until this initial rebuild effort was going on. So here we have Keystone Train 640 at Stafford, led by P42-8WH, one of the old Pepsi cans, in a Heritage Phase 4 paint scheme. These were typically used, often and still are used for switching duties. And were especially used in a couple always hung out in the Philadelphia terminal area. I'm not sure what. Oh yeah. This is the westbound platform. Just getting a couple of things here. All right. Whoops. I forgot to. What do I got here? I got some. Here we are. I forgot to pull up all these little diagrams that I got. I'm actually going to be needing to use my Amtrak diagrams from 1992 today. Come on, there you are. Specifically, we're going to be looking first starting off at Overbrook and Valley Interlocking. As you can tell from this diagram of Overbrook Tower, although this isn't the greatest photo, here we go. This one's a little bit better, although one of these should be large. Overbrook, with the main interlocking there off the Model 14 machine, did control the valley interlocking under CTC, and it also had a little bit of CTC control up the old Schuylkill Valley branch. This was notable for being the location of the old Philadelphia 52nd Street station, and the main line track 4 jump over. A lot of history at Valley contained in a little tiny space. It's almost, I'm going to be lucky if I can get into all of it here. I think I talked a bit about it. Hopefully I talked about it on my Overbrook Tower stuff. But anyway, here we have, by this point, so that ramp wasn't just like, oh, the way you get to the Kenwood line. No, that was main track 4. And I actually remember Amtrak being on that, using it when I went out to Pittsburgh in 1994 on the Pennsylvanian. In fact, you came out of the whole Philly terminal and you were zapping up there at pretty much 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles an hour over the bridge. I remember just sort of going up and over and not sort of understanding what the heck was going on. Any mainline train would use that, as you can see here in this in the diagram. Not there. Main 4. This was main 1, 2, and 4 and 2. 4 would go up and over, and it had a straight switch, and it was to jump over the freight tracks. You had this whole receiving yard for Philadelphia area freight that would go over into the Belmont Yard complex. So here in this photo, if I can get to this, we have the Valley signals, the 264 Valley signals obscuring Silverliner 4 number 302 here at Valley. They say SEPTA 302, yeah. And here we sort of have the reverse of it as it crawls up that thing. By this point, the Valley flyover, it was relegated to Kenwood branch duties, and after, in this case, 13 years of neglect, that bridge was down to a 10-15 mile an hour speed limit. I think it was even reduced to a flat 10. Trains would come up the branch and just stop there. As you can see here in the diagram, it was sort of interesting. There was actually a signal there. This switch was removed, so you had the 68L governing just this stretch of track, and then there was just you had a dwarf, sort of a ghost signal. And another interesting thing is that trains coming up here would be cab signaled because it was the old main track, and as soon as you pass that 67 switch, and there's a video of this I have on the last day of Silverliner 2 operations, your cab signals immediately drop. There's no cutout, so the engineer would have to be there with the cutout key, otherwise you're going to go from a clear signal right to a restricting. Restricting in the cab, like, you're still on clear. Don't think it would be a clear, but at least it would be an approach. We'll get to why that is. So that's just one of those little regulatory things, is that, you could always, you couldn't abandon those, it would be a pain to abandon the cab signaling on that branch, and they probably wouldn't even let them do it. But at the same point, there's nothing that said they had to put more cab signaling in, so it just abruptly ended. At the time I was taking these photos, that whole ramp was also used for Y movements for the Amtrak's road railer operation. So they would back road railer trains and cuts onto that ramp to then Y them out of the way. Frequently, the operator, even on weekends, the operator of Overbrook would leave that 68L signal displayed so that the trains coming up the branch would get better signals, could move faster. Unfortunately, I just looked into it, and I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Not only has I know that whole branch has been now taken out of service, the whole the Valley flyover. But not only has the Valley flyover been taken out of service, they went all the way back to the JO section of the zoo and cut the switch. So you can't even use that ramp as, a tail track for Y moves. By the way, if you're wondering why the Y moves are all the way out there, the Philadelphia turning Y is zoo. So to make your turning moves, you got to come up to Mantua, use the Pittsburgh subway, and then I said that was just the easiest place to do a turn. Now they're going to have to turn them on the main. Kind of dumb because that, the track's coming out there is the subway track, and now you're going to have to turn any of your Y moves either on tracks 1 or 2. So I would have kept that switch in place and just barricaded it like right there. That was, I don't know why they did that. I mean, they could always put the switch back, but yeah, probably not the best. I mean, I don't know how many Y moves they got to make, but why set yourself up for failure? Anyway, next. Here we have 302 at the Kenwood Station. I should check what street bridge that is. If you're wondering why you have weird Welsh names out there, that's because that area of Philadelphia was actually part of a Welsh, it's called like the Welsh Tract. Gwynedd, Cynwyd, Bala. That was just simply a bunch of, the English managed to unload a bunch of Welshmen up here into the colonies. That's Montgomery Ave, by the way, for the bridge. Oops. We'll pick. You can see multiple photos here of the same thing. So here we have SEPTA 302 also at Kenwood, but you can see the entrance, the old entrance signal for the line at CP Kin. Southbound. At this time, the whole Kenwood branch was controlled from a panel in A Tower that also controlled the airport line and assumed duties of Chestnut Hill West. When SEPTA was still Tower, although no, this stuff's from 2006, so I think those are all closed. But before the tower, before that closed, you had SEPTA A Tower that controlled the airport line was sort of the potpourri, and it gathered as they closed this towers, not necessarily media, but at least at Hill West, control passed to Tower A. Oops. Here we have the CP Kin signal. CP Kin is simply a one-direction exit signal. The end of the track was just. It is nice that they did allow that the whole station track was track circuited. So and it was also the whole line was not cab signaled. So you'd come up here, hit this auto 63, and 6.3 miles from Suburban Station, and then you weren't immediately on a restricting. Now the whole line's speed, I think, was only 25 miles an hour. Still only 25 miles an hour. But today, with the PTC thing, they've cab signaled the line, and you hit the restricting. You pass the restricting signal there, and the PTC might even, because of it's a terminal, might even drop you down to 10. So there you go. I don't know if this is a line or a branch. And here we have, it's still 30. Here we have 291. Where is this? This is the Winfield Avenue station. SEPTA 291. By the way, if I vanish, there's a thunderstorm going on right now. So if I have a power outage, that's what's up. 291 Winfield Ave. Yep. I'm just going to say... Okay, so here we have, this is the first one at CP Jeff. We'll get into how this works in just a second. Oh man, that thunderstorm sounds nasty. 291 soft. But by the way, again, when I'm using the term CP, these are not... CP is an interlock like a Conrail. No, SEPTA, like Amtrak, NJT, and NJT, use CP in the proper way for controlled points. Controlled point is not an interlocking. It's a point. Although, this is not really a point, but it's still a CP. I'll explain why. As in, it has... it pretty much works automatically. But I'll have another picture. Here we have coming off the old flyover. Sorry, let me get up this here. So this whole... By the way, this is a really neat bridge complex in here because you got 3 layers. You got the first layer there. That's the old freight line, which was at grade. So that's been reactivated to avoid the whole valley jump over. It's like the easiest move, but it took them years to do. I don't know. Again, Amtrak's not going to do it unless SEPTA pays for it. SEPTA hates this branch, so that's why they refuse to invest in it. So they're like, it's sort of like unstoppable force in a movable object. SEPTA's like, we're not going to upgrade this, but they couldn't, people would complain if they closed it. They reduced service to like a crawl, but eventually, just because the bus service, the exact area that this Kenwood, if you're wondering why you have this bizarre little stupid 3-branch 25-mile-an-hour line with barely any service, here we have the whole bridge complex here. And I'll get into the whole Schuylkill Valley thing later. Zap that. And I'll zap that. Okay. It's simply because this exact part of town is normally served by buses on City Line Avenue. City Line Avenue buses to get downtown have to take the Schuylkill, and the Schuylkill is just disastrously bad. It's always backed up. You will not get to work on time. So this BS 25-mile-an-hour line, which honestly there's no reason to even have it at 25. That's class 2. You can run it at 40. They could have easily upgraded that to 40 with no cost. But this little dinky line is more reliable than the bus service on City Ave. Anyway, here we have coming off the Valley Junction flyover. So the whole reason we have this sort of weird Schuylkill Valley branch thing to begin with... Oh, is that 291? Oh, it's 302 again. So the whole reason this Schuylkill Valley branch exists, and I'm also to get to it here, and it's pretty built up too. Okay, first off, let me talk about how CP Jeff works. So this whole little branch is automatic. It's like a controlled occupancy system on Metra, what they call out as controlled occupancy system, even though it's effectively run under Rule 261 under NORAC. Trains approach CP Jeff. If the line segment is empty, as in between here and CP Kin, they will get a clear indication on the little dwarf signal there. This is the world's only dwarf bracket. It is it is like the unique dwarf bracket mast. And the other part of the bracket is fixed at stop. So anything coming up under the duck under would have to stop and get permission past a signal from dispatch or operator at a tower. So anyway, it comes up there if the segment between here and CP Kin, or that auto 63, is empty. I'm pretty sure it was, I'm not sure if it was to end of the track or just to auto 63. It would get a clear indication. It would go onto the line. if it was the line was occupied, it just would get a stop until the train got off it. There's a number of stuff. It's almost like an APB, so you didn't even have to have a dispatcher deal with this. It was all fully automated. Although I do think you had to have a dispatcher signal a train to leave. That CP Kin, I don't think you could. I don't think that was that was the only non-manual operation. And here we have the CP Jeff. The dwarf bracket there at Jeff. And here we have again 302 approaching the getting a slow clear on the valley, a slow approach on the valley, 15 mile an hour valley. This is after it comes out. It comes back past through the CP Jeff area right there, and it takes this little duck under track. It's the neatest little thing. It's like a little roller coaster. You vanish, you pop out there, and you take this really neat little this swing along right here, which is actually next to the. You can take a picture of it from the 10. If that is the... Oh, no, there's a turnaround loop. So you can see it from the 10 right there. And then you come up to the old 57th Street station. And then when you get the slow approach, you diverge at 15 miles an hour onto main track 1. There was actually a situation where Overbrook could not throw that switch. And they actually discharged passengers onto that out-of-service platform to pick them up by an R5. So that's some quick thinking there, and eventually they got the switch dealt with. But that's just that was the last time that platform was used. I mean, I guess that's the last time I know of, but I'm assuming it's the last time that platform was ever used. It's covered in ballast, not like covered, but it's just covered in rocks. The other 52nd Street platform was located up there. It was like cantilevered off Main 4. And then the station building was like somewhere like right there. There was actually a pretty big station. That was when 52nd Street was still, prosperous. This one I show you what it looks like. Oh, that's not a very good picture. Because it makes this really nice little arcing curve, although I think SEPTA screwed it up. Let's see if I can go to an earlier street view with less foliage. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really get it. It looked, at one point I saw, it looked really neat. Whoa. That's an insane amount of foliage. Oh boy. Wow, they did do a pretty substantial, tree cutting. This is from 2009, and by the way, look, you can see the old, hold on. There's the old 52nd Street station. You can see the thing over there in 2007. But wow, look at that brush. Sorry, let me get back to what I'm doing here. (64RA) And of course we just have the reverse with the 64A displaying at... This is all still controlled from Overbrook. Love that classic R2, almost a PC green for the the R6 sign. I'm not entirely sure where this is. I'm just going to say it's like Valley Flyover. Oh, it's milepost 5.3.1, so... Okay, so here we just cutting again to Stafford. Don't know why. Oh, this is just how my friend has it labeled by the train number. So this is just one of the cab cars, 2409 at Stafford. (2409) and the opposite. If you take enough pictures, you can always overcome labeling issues, or you can, if you can always, like, if things fall in two buckets, just take two photos and put one in one bucket and one in the other. So there you go. Here we of course have a close-up of CP Kin. Okay, and a couple quick things at Barmouth. Unfortunately, these got demolished in as part of the Schuylkill River Trail. The Barmouth shelters got demolished. I mentioned I went over Barmouth before when I was doing a before my Chicago trip, of all places. I'm pretty sure that the Barmouth stuff got demolished. In fact, I can see if there's a Google Street View of the bike trail. They're pretty good about that now. Oh, come on. So my computer like crashes or something. There we go. And for those you don't know, the reason, even though that the ostensible reason, they can't get down there. The ostensible reason that they closed the service, as we'll get to Ivy Ridge, is because, and not, they killed at Kenwood and not Barmouth, was just because there's no parking at Barmouth, and there's like a cemetery there. There really is absolutely no parking at Barmouth. So the reason the Schuylkill branch exists to begin with, and it was built pretty late by the PRR, was the result of a long-running conflict between the PRR and the Reading. I used to, if I go read the book, I can get the exact sequence of operations. But the issue was that the moves involved were, and I'll tell you here in a second. The moves involved were the Cape May branch. I forget who was there first. I think it was either one second. So there was the Cape May branch, Chestnut Hill. That was the retaliation for, there was someone did something. Then one retaliated, and then the final retaliation was the PRR built a line along the Schuylkill to Reading, directly compete in direct competition with the Reading. So I used to know it off the top of my head, but it was this long simmering like tit for tat where I forget. Yeah, I just forget the order of operations. Like, it could have been the PRR went to Hill, then the Reading went to Cape May. So I think that the Reading was first to Cape May, and they might have. The PRR, it was it would have had to have been. The PRR went to Cape May, the Reading retaliated to Hill east, and then the PRR, as a counter-retaliation, went to Reading. The line cost a ton of money. A lot of it's even still, you can. It's one of the later PRR lines. This should be north-south, not east-west. So, when I say it's one of the later PRR lines, I mean that the PRR was, had done a lot, was really fast out of the gate with building stuff. So this is one of it's later, as in it was built in like the 1890s, like around 1900. That's why you had or maybe even the early 1900s. That's why you had so much of poured concrete use in it that you don't see elsewhere in the PRR, simply because the technology didn't exist. So this is just all Barmouth Station stuff, so you're not missing anything. Okay, here we have just a quick thing at CP Jeff. CP Jeff was a spring switch. That's why it could operate fully automatically. They have since replaced it with a power-operated switch. But I guess it's all computer-controlled anyway. This was only ever electrified for suburban ops out to Norristown. And then it also was served as a catenary route for its 238 kV circuits that would go out to Ernest Junction, then follow the Trenton Cutoff down to Fraser, and then it was off to the races. So the PRR has been prevented from putting in its transmission lines along the main line for coming up on probably about 90 years now. And Amtrak's latest plan to try to abandon this circuit route also failed. One second. Here we have the Kenwood Station. Here we go. More fun. This is the Ivy Ridge Station that was actually made in 2019. Was constructed as a high-level platform in 1979. Hold on, let me just see if people have questions here. I've been sort of on a roll. Oh man, I missed a lot of questions. I mean, CP. I mean, the common use of CP feet for control point is way more common than controlled point. From a theoretical point of view, it's best if CP applies to points, as in holdout signals, mainly holdout things that are the equivalent to holdout signals. Otherwise, and then remember, the differentiation is not the presence of switches. It's that controlled points interlockings have length, even if they don't have interlocking appliances. In the NORAC rulebook, a controlled point has different rules than an interlocking. Specifically, you can reverse in a controlled point without dispatcher permission, because it's a point, not a length. I have checked that. It's only made, it's only some oblique references. Regarding to the better line, I'm not sure. I mean, like, at the end of the day, the Norristown line does allow connections through to Reading. Let me just see what people are saying here. Sorry, dead air. The Reading line has the better right of way. I mean, it's perfectly fine. The Schuylkill Valley line. I'm just trying to think of, like, I don't have any problems with it, but you just don't need both right of ways. And the Reading one was there first. They got to choose the best stuff. The PRR one has tons more bridges, tons more curves. It never really amounted to much. Didn't see the investment. The Reading one is 4-track right of way at various places. So I don't think that the PR Schuylkill Valley branch. I mean, from a point of view from transit, though, as an alternative to the freight line, I think it would definitely have value. But I want to get to the really wacky parts here. Yeah, and there's that Manayunk Bridge. Never really in problem, but it did have the issues. It did have a bunch of issues just with like the threat to traffic. It needed some stabilization. So I actually like the loop service. If you'd ask me what they should do, and this is a very radical. This would be one of those things that transit planners would have a wet dream over. The R6 used to run from Norristown through Center City over the Valley flyover and would terminate at Ivy Ridge, which had 2 levels. So you could catch this high-level platform train directly in, or you could catch another one. Here's something that would throw you for a loop. What if they actually just connected the 2 right-of-ways like down there, like there? So you could run like a loop service where trains would come in and like inbound trains would, like outbound trains would come and inbound would go via Reading, loop through the city, and then you would have only outbound only stations and inbound only stations. I guess that would kind of be, would kind of screw up stuff for people who lived inside those stations, but it'll still be interesting. You'd have to catch a train out to go in. They tried doing that on the New York City subway with the I think they had a loop. The Nassau Street loop was supposed to do that. I mean, in theory, you could also have trains running both directions, run the loops both directions. But it would have been great to actually connect the loop, so you would have inbound and outbound trains looping through the downtown area. Let's get back to my job here. So this Ivy Ridge station was built in like the 1980s and then abandoned, I think, less than a decade later. Sorry, not abandoned. Service was temporarily suspended here at Ivy Ridge. I can't even say it's an R6 station versus because they're both R6. I mean, it shows they had high hope for it. I mean, I should probably go look up on like Wikipedia what the exact closing date was. It's just wild that that they built this whole complex, 2 lines, etc., and it was removed in 2011. Built in 1980. It was abandoned 6 years later in 1986. So slow clap for SEPTA. Here, I believe this is the right-of-way looking north. Yeah. Or south, I mean, sorry. Oops. Nope, wrong picture. Don't rename it. There we go. So here we have the I gotta figure out what's the proper name for that Schuylkill Bridge? The Pencod Viaduct. More Welsh. This is where I'm gonna slip over into, as opposed to being a SEPTA thing. I'm gonna just be PRR. I'm gonna label these as P. When I get really abandoned stuff, I go with a PRR label. North End right of way southbound. North End right-of-way northbound. By the way, if you for those of you counting at home, this giant catenary structure, that up there is commercial power. These are the 2 Amtrak circuits there and there. That's a looping. What am I looking at here? Oh, this is back at Manayunk. Okay, one second. That's back at Ivy Ridge. These appear to be jumping around a little bit. There we go. SEPTA Ivy Ridge Station. Oh, hold on one second. This is CP Manayunk. This is where I gotta pull up my thing and be like, how the hell do I spell Manayunk? Come on, where is that? No. There it is. Manayunk. So that's what that turned into a controlled point up through 86. They even Amtrak controlled that line until they did, I think, until 86 when they put control down at A Tower. But until then, Amtrak had that sort of holdout signal at what used to be Manayunk. I'm not calling it a CP, and you'll see why. Manayunk. Because it did have length and it did have a switch. This is where, for years, this is where the double track ended. So, as the diagram of the thing was single track, but there was a switch here, and it was the end of the double track. Back at the bridge, at the viaduct. Hold on, let me get that naming back. It's southbound view. Oh, sorry, not viaduct. North side, southbound. And this is all. I've yet to go over this, and in fact, I need to get out and do some of that Reading Viaduct stuff as well. I'm not sure if I should go in the winter or the summer, but I've never done the Manayunk Viaduct, and I really should. Where the heck is this? Looks like there's an old crossing there. Where would that have been? There's the access. There's the stuff there. That looks like it. Right there. Yep, that is Wright Street, the old Wright Street crossing. And that's it. That's it for the Kenwood line, but we are not done for today, so do not worry. Let me see if you have any more questions. We're going to get to do those THORN ones, or I'll probably do the Aurora, and then I'll close out with THORN so I don't lose anybody. How much time we got? Oh, we're well ahead. Blah, 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 Reading route, Amtrak. Amtrak wants to move the trans. So currently the 238,000 volt circuits follow the Kenwood line, or the old Schuylkill Valley branch, up to a place called Ernest Junction. So they come off here, they go up there, then they go all the way to right there. They follow basically the Schuylkill River Trail, aka abandoned right of way, to a location called Ernest Junction. Hold on, let me show you what this looks like. That's Ernest Junction. It's a field switch. So it's basically where you had the two active circuits, and then there was a join, a non-circuit breaker join with the single circuit 138,000 volt electrification circuit that would run to Morrisville. That was something that Amtrak was actually given the opportunity to own by Conrail. But of course, I'm not sure they had to buy it, but they were going to have to maintain it. And Amtrak said they didn't want it, so Conrail went ahead and torched down all the catenary poles on the Morrisville line. Doesn't really make a huge difference, but it's every so often it's something that would have come in handy. The point of the line wasn't just to, it just didn't, on the Morris, the Trenton cutoff was electrified, and it did have at least 2 substations. So that's what you needed the transmission line to feed. So these things, at this point, they come off the old Norristown right-of-way, enter the, what do you call it? I bet they can use these to cross-shunt, but I'm not sure. They seem to have cut them. Then it runs all the way down the old Dale secondary track to Glendale, at which point it ties back into the main line. So that will then, it goes all the way up there. So here, it does this. It goes up there, along there, and then all the way down to there. They want to move the line to the main line here, because it would let them pretty much abandon any presence along this whole stretch of tracks they don't own. But it would be very unsightly in some of the ritziest real estate in Pennsylvania, and would also destroy the 1915 catenary that looks really nice, etc. So that's every time Amtrak floats it, or the PRR tried to do it in the 60s, it got shot down. Amtrak tried to propose it again as part of like the 2010 stimulus, it got shot down. I'm not too worried about it doing that. Okay, so we do have time here, or a little bit. I'm going to do those last Aurora things just for the heck of it, just so I'm not bugged by it. And then the few thorns, and then we'll get out of here, and that should be enough time. So hold on. So these are the film. If you were here yesterday for those Aurora pictures, there's some gaps in it. And these are because my friend also had a film camera, which after you scan it, just doesn't look as good as the digital stuff, even at lower resolutions. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up a couple things real quick, just so that I can get through this quickly. Aurora line. All right. And okay, whatever here. So this is so some of these are going to be easy, like UPY 736 at Union Ave. By the way, the reason you have a UPY reporting mark is because Union Pacific has so many engines, it had to take all its yard. It ran out of 4-digit space, and it basically created a new a new reporting mark just for its yard fleet. Here's the Burlington Northern Heritage Unit at Western Ave. Some sort of Jeep. Actually, it looks like a modified GP39. You can sort of tell by the torpedo tube there, the dynamic brake grid. I'm not sure if it has a high hood. BNSF, or one of its predecessors, was very active at upgrading its its early Jeeps. You can take the 567 engine, swap in 645 power assemblies, and instantly have basically a GP38 at that point. Don't know who this is, but this is BNSF 6861 at Cicero Yard. This is something 3738, also at Cicero. X738. I have no idea what that is, and I don't have the resolution to zoom in there. Looks like 8618 something 18. the peanut gallery wants to help. But I don't think you guys can really get in and see that. Whoops, wrong thing. Here's the Laverne Tower. I'm glad that I was able to get the actual name on that one. Don't know what the station is, so I'm just gonna have to go through the things a bit till I can find which one it is. Nope. Nope. That's the one, right? Nope. Oh, maybe it's one he didn't take a picture of because that's why it's not there. What? That's irritating. Gotta figure out who this is. Which station is this? I'm not gonna find it now. I'll just come back later. Here we have Lagrange Road for the inbound thing. Oops. Lagrange Road. So it's before Lagrange Road. I'll just have to look it up manually. Metra 808. That's something that Metra really needs, more consistent front numbering of its stuff. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Gotta find out where this picture was. Okay, here we have the 214 signals, and I think I see. Wait, hold on. Yeah, there he is. It's not 214. It would be between 214 and 215. That's why I didn't get a 215 picture, because he was busy with his film camera getting 808. Now I just need to figure out like what stations those are. Damn it. So anyway, we're gonna get to the THORN stuff in just a second. There's only 24 of these pictures because it's a roll. It's one roll of film. So just hang tight. As I speed. There's Laverne Road. Could it be the Congress Park station? That first one. No. Could it be Brookfield? It doesn't look like it. It's on the other side. Oh, yes, that's got to be Riverside. Just to confirm, yeah, that's it. Okay, so you have Brookfield, somewhere in here. Lagrange Road. I'll just call it Western Springs because I didn't remember seeing that one. It's close enough. So here we just have Metra 808 at Western Springs, and that's the 15 signal behind it, but I'm not going to measure Metra. 808 is one of the Bud ones. I'm not sure if those are even still, if they're still in service and not being used by cab cars anymore. This is just about when that last Nippon Sharyo order was coming through. I'll just call that like. Hold on. That looks like 194. I'm gonna have to go and pull up a Wikipedia article here on get the Metra's rolling stock to see what the range is for those. Is this these guys? Yeah, the M2s. So yeah, 194 fits that range. Oh, come on, where are you? What station's this? Cosi? What? Highlands. That looks like Hinsdale. Hold on. Is that the same one? Yes, yes it is. Okay, so this is Metra 194 at Hinsdale. This is the Metra Hinsdale Station. This is the same thing, a little farther. And finally, here's the missing. So it looks like my friend was trying to get the locomotives on the film and everything else, all the junk signal stuff he was doing on the digital. I'm glad that he did all the junk signal stuff on the digital because it's way better. So I need to go and get here you go, Chicago sub junk, Berwyn, Congress Park. Yeah, I don't have a Hinsdale because he had the film camera at the time. West Hinsdale. Westbound. Track 1 clear plus BNSF underscore 4966. I'm assuming it's a C44-9W because that's what they all are. I do have the BNSF roster up. What's a 4000 series GE? Oh, of course. C44-9W. What else would it be? Great. Here we have an SD70 Mac, though, in a 99. Looks like 9908 in the original cool BN. The last, I'm not sure if that was delivered like that or if that was. No, that was definitely a BNSF thing. BNSF 9908. It's close enough to Naperville. Here's Naperville Station. Whoops. There we go. Just cut and paste. Naperville Station. This would be. Gotta check. This looks like East Naperville or something. or West Naperville. West Leslie. Oh, do I have to go? You're not going to make me like... Hold on. I'm not talking to you people who are watching. I'm just talking to the abstraction of me having to go deal with stuff. Westmont. Downers Grove. Naperville is sort of the... Leslie... Where's Naperville? There you go. West Naperville. That's got to be it. So... There we go. And looks like, is this the same place? Oh yeah, he must have come by. So that dude's moving here on track 3, and that BN Heritage. So the Santa Fe Heritage unit is on track 3 moving, and the BN Heritage unit is there stopped at the signal. Question is, can I get and read that number? Looks like 27 something something. I can go look to see if it matches. A 2700 series is going to be a GP39, which I believe that's looks what it is. XATSF. So I'm just going to call it a 2700 series. Actually, I can put it in. I can specifically call out the West Naperville interlocking. Actually, there we go. And our BN Heritage unit with bunch of empty intermodal cars is 8031. Might as well check to see if that guy's still around. Nope. Wait. Nope. It's been whatever that was. It's been renumbered by ES44s. So BN 80. That's why I'm going to keep it as BN 8031 at Naperville. And here we are at Eola Yard with, oh god, the resolution is these scans are terrible. 8700 and 5744. That looks good enough. BNSF 5744 plus ATSF 8700. Oh, Eola. Actually, that's West Eola interlocking. There it is. Perfect. Was this the right one? Oh, it's East Eola. There we are. And then we have 887. Is that 686874? 6874 at Eola. Eola. Boom, if I'm pronouncing that right. And finally, last couple photos of our Metra 205 at Aurora. Oh, damn it. And as you're sorry for taking you through all this, we'll get to the THORN Tower stuff in just a second. At Aurora. Last one. And done. Great. So thank you for sitting through that. Let me see if I have any questions. Hopefully I haven't driven everybody away. Yeah, not yet. All right. Last bit. I just wanted to wrap up with those last couple THORN Tower photos I missed, because I didn't want to close out on random pre-digital scans. So just hold on one second. So the stuff I missed yesterday, let me just make sure that I'm starting at the right place. Okay, here we go. So these are the Servo Corporation of America, Hicksville, New York, hotbox detectors. Let me just make sure I have the Amtrak diagrams up here. First one is milepost. Now, these have all since been replaced by radio ones. They don't even say the name, the place name. Damn Amtrak. They used to, but anyway. Here we go. Servo Corporation, New York. This is Main 1, milepost 48.2, hotbox and dragging equipment detector. This normally would have been the purview of Park Tower because it's located out past Park Interlocking. Way past, it's kind of out where the new Park Interlocking is. It's way past Ackland even. Out here in the middle. That's where the new park is at milepost 46. This is about 2 miles to the west of that. But because there's nobody in park, it would repeat in the dispatch office. So I just love with the little like needle pen things there, and you got the light. And then the copy paper. So the way this would work is, of course, it would register the heat. You have a lot of little like spikes on the graph, and the dragger would indicate. You would just indicate like a single line. That if the line was, again, if the dragger hit, it would just hit this giant like thing that would set the alarm off. So anyway, THORN track 1. Eastbound, HBD, DED, readout. So this was for, if we look here back at our diagram at Park, the 10R was going to be for that signal, and the 24R was going to be for your ANS branch. Those were likely for. I think I think that if this detector here was tripped, at least for dragging, it would automatically drop either the 10R or the 24R, notice out of service ANS branch, and stop that, get that train stopped at Park Interlocking, at which point you could do communications. But there's also your receiver tray. I love all these Harman Electronics for how they would do the probably some sort of analog pulse system. Oh crap! Sorry, damn it. What was the last thing we got going here? Okay, you didn't miss much. 1 second, I'll show you in just a sec. I gotta fix it. There you go. Can I do this? Come on. Okay, there we go. Okay, that should be fixed. So anyway, what I was talking about was the 24R and the 10R there. Here's your picture, your 10R. These were just the old things that when you hit that dragger, both on the Atland, Susquehanna, and on Main 1, because of Park's sort of like auto status, Thorn would be alerted. Those lights would go on, either 10R or 24, indicating that the signals were being held due to the detector. You had an option to reset them. You reset the alarm here. That would let the signals at Park then display. Again, this is the analog control board, probably using some sort of weird pulse pulse code system over telephone lines. So sorry about that. You saw that. This was just the second one, and then the other stuff was just how far. So there's the 24R and the 10R on the Enola branch. So almost done. Damn it. Come on, where is that? There we go. Here we have this is for 2-track and 4-track, again triggering the 20L and 18L signals at Park. Those would be 20L on track 2, 18L on track 4. Those are just for dragging equipment detectors here at milepost 40. There's a whole section in those old there's 2 hotbox detectors as well. There's your draggers, there's your hotbox. There's a whole segment, these E signals there, that indicate that a dragging alarm, that the signals that stop because the dragger has been tripped. You then get out, you check, the signals will pop up. But there's a whole thing in it for that goes on for about 5 minutes. But for the hot boxes, only the operator at Thorn, I believe, can reset those. I'm going to close out all this junk here. Don't need any of that anymore. So I'm not sure if this is just for the draggers or for both of the hot boxes, but it's for track 2 and track 4 westbound. That's the better version of it, so hold on one second. Westbound. And here's just a better picture of it. Again, just all neat how things worked back when you didn't have remote everything. It was all still very. You got to have people on the ground, and if your tower suddenly went out of service, you had to do all this sort of weirdo analog remote control stuff. I love the jewel lamps. Those are like the big old overload warnings on a railroad, like your whatchamacallit transformer. Okay, so here's the readouts for, again, here's the Park reset. There's your comm rack. And then you had 2 readouts for track 2 and track 4. Oops. Go back to this track 1. So that's Main East. Here's track 2 West. This is barely, track 2 West. Track 2 West. This was barely used at this point. Fun fact at Thorn, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, when Park was automated, the traffic lever on 2-track that Thorn had would control this 20L or 24R, which one would display. So if you throw traffic west, 20L would pop up, and 24 would either go to stop or restricting. Throwing traffic east would reverse the process. So in even that situation, Thorn could remotely control that 2-track switch by itself, but only switches, you had to be there to throw the switches. Same thing, track 2, just better lighting. Same thing, track 4. Oops. Killed it. Great. Damn it. Oh, fuck. I love the light effect on this. Oh, you can actually see some of the graphs. That by the way, Servo Corporation of America is still in business and they still make IR sensors, but that's what all that is. There's little lines there. Those are the wheels. Each time it goes ba-dum, and this will go meep, 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 meep. So there's a truck, there's a truck, there's a truck, there's a truck. So it is a very analog process. Like, this paper advances at the rate that the train is like passing over stuff. And you can see, and it's spaced by the way that the paper is running. There's the little belt that drives the paper. It's not no data comes in. It's the train hits the detector, the paper starts spinning, and it immediately outputs the exact amplitude of the signal it's getting from its IR detectors. Here's another one showing the paper there. Even in 2005, my friend was like, they're running out of the paper. Here's the bathroom again. The notice board. Let's see what we got here on the notice board. Can I read anything? Not really. I love how, it's like all the new Amtrak stuff, but you still have some pointless arrow branding around. This is the old telephone concentrator. I only have pictures of the new one. I'm not sure if if you had but the whole point is that you can tell. I don't know how it works with like the plugs, if you had to plug a headset into that, but this just shows you all of your telephone circuits. You can call Paoli. That's the block line. There's a dispatcher line. There's a block line to the east. So Cork Park, because Park's out of service. If Park was closed out, that would ring at Cork. I don't know what this SS thing is. That could just be where there's some sort of switch. There's a thing they'll let you call Fraser. Amtrak is probably the dispatcher, nothing. Conrail dispatcher, and a lamp test. So there's your old school telephone concentrator. Here's the milepost. Oh yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, the milepost 48 one is all the way over here on the other opposite side of the room. That's still there because it's holding up the Fraser board. I think the other ones have been removed. I can't quite tell. I don't feel like looking at it. So here we just have the THORN, CTC. Here we have a really nice picture of this might be the one I put on Wikipedia. And the one I put on Wikipedia also made it into a book on railroad signaling because I Creative Commons licensed it. So I'm pretty sure that this is, if anyone who's seen centralized traffic control on Wikipedia, that's where this picture came from. It's been there for years. Hopefully that name won't conflict. This is the best version of that. Nothing really going on. This is all overnight. This is like 2 a.m. There's nothing moving. And you can just see the whole. This is the Downs and Glen panels. We talked about this yesterday. I'm not going to do it again. Here's the left side of the machine. And one thing, if you read, Thorn actually had, when it mattered, had 2 phone numbers. Still does, at least last I checked, because they wanted it to be able to be reached locally on local phones from both Lancaster area code and the Philly area code, and they didn't want to pay all the long distance charges. Oh, there's the old phone concentrator. That's the very old phone concentrator. So that's the one that was in service. See, Park, Gap, Thorn, Fraser, Paoli, the various phone lines. I'm sure that there was a way, and that was dispatch, and that's the dispatcher line right there with the push to talk. No, wait, hold on. You'd put the button, and then you get push to talk. I don't know what's at Gap. So, yeah, that's clearly out of service there. Oh, he moved the thing there. That's probably the dispatcher squawk box. He moved everything off. He moved all the phones off, and here we have the back of the room. Almost done here. Sorry for the long delay. And the other side, looking west. Again, you saw a lot of this the other day, but not quite this detail. Got the lockers at night. And the close-up of the Thorn panel. Just want to save myself some. So like I've mentioned before, all the other panels on the Thorn machine, the Callan panel, the Downs panel, the Glen panel, they were all CTC connected. That means pulse code. The machine goes ding. 1 second. But this was direct wire. That means all those little unit levers would control relays in the basement. So when trains are in this area, you don't hear the chunk. You don't when you dial in something on the unit levers and then hit the code button, it instantly happens. There's no sending out a pulse command and then having the response come back. It happens instantaneously because it's interacting with what's in the basement right now. I said I've been over. These are really good photos. I think my friend has to have had a tripod or something. These are in the pitch black. Oh, by the way, there's the there's traffic on. Oh, hold on. Somewhere in here you'd have the traffic level. See, when they had the track 2 got traffic there, they had to sort of jury rig how they did traffic on this 2 track. So they had these buttons of setting traffic on number 2. Here we have the Thorn power board. This is out of service, but it's still there. So again, at this point, Harrisburg Power Dispatch would call up and have for certain catenary sections, they'd have to work through the operator at Thorn. See, 11. I don't know where all these are. You have to go back here. You can see the catenary sections. 22 on track 2, 44 track 4, 11 on track 1. You can sort of see how that works. The ones where they don't have sectionalization are there. So 11, 22, etc. These are the knobs. By the way, I have a gig of photos of the Harrisburg Power Dispatcher's office. Oh, I think these are the I don't know what's in these, but Not sure what's in all that. Could be power stuff. Here we have the front corner. At night. And the southwest corner. And that's all that giant stack of servograph stuff. I think that those have been removed. Closer view. The bathroom with a flash. Oh, I'm done. These are the ones I did yesterday. So there you go. That's finishing up with the Thorn stuff. Thanks for tuning in and staying long. Let me see if people have more questions. I guess not. All right, thank you so much. I will be back next, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. I'll figure out what to do. Maybe I'll put a poll up. I'll see you around. I might be starting my next campaign is going to be 2006 photos. And after that, I guess probably at least 2006. I might get into 2007. I might have I have some other rename stuff I can do as well. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna let you guys get to bed. I gotta get to bed myself and do other things. So have a great night, and hopefully these will be up and online, and these will be, you can go and look at all these ones again in a week or two when I have some more photos. Throw up any questions you have in the chat, and I will see you next time. Is that working? Hope that's working. Sorry for that brief blackout. All right, see you. Bye.